Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. This week is actually a special episode. I know we say that every week, or most weeks, but this week it really is because we're doing a set review
we don't say that
for
most
Dominaria.
episodes because you're not here most episodes.
Wow. Good call. Good call. I'll have you know, man, I went through hell and back on airplanes today to make it to this set review.
Yeah, and most weeks you're home, you're just like, oh, it took 4.5 hours to get my kid to sleep, so I couldn't podcast.
You know, I wish that was an exaggeration, actually. But anyways, that other
Corbin
person
hates Hartford, even though it was a really nice city.
No, it wasn't.
Our Airbnb was inside of an ice cream shop. Don't talk shit to me.
Corbin's Airbnb was inside an abandoned ice rink that used to have a hockey team and now does not.
No,
and you live in Oklahoma, so it's got to be better than Oklahoma.
Right? Well, how's there any part of Connecticut that's worse than where you live?
Dude, Hartford, there was no gas station I could go to get a Red Bull. That's how bad it was. All right.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
What?
Also, I just
got
like barely. They tried to not let me out this morning. Anyways, everybody, this is Corey Baumeister. Corey, if you don't know, is the one might say the best standard Magic player at the moment, at least the results on the past year, and some would definitely say or disagree with the fact that he is the better half of the Brad Nelson Corey Baumeister brother combo.
Oh, that's a fact. That is a fact. Definitely the more handsome one, at least.
Oh man. Yeah, Corey has really been tearing it up in Magic. I think he was 2 or 3, right, back-to-back Grand Prix top 8s.
4, my friend, 4.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
I think you like skipped one in there, and then, that's sick.
Did you win any of them?
Nope, I took 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th.
So progressively getting worse. Got it.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're slowly learning how to unlose a GP.
Yeah, you've already peaked.
Man, I felt so bad in Seattle for your brother, though, man.
Yeah. Oh,
that was the closest tiebreakers I've ever seen in my life.
I think the extra daggers were when you came back. Be like,
I know. I
didn't mean it's an extra 0.
I didn't mean it to be taken that way. Was he pissed? Did I?
No, he wasn't pissed at all. But I did record a video of the announcement, so I'll have to show it to you next time.
I just wanted to bring in the standings, so I knew he'd want to see them. I wasn't trying to
suck it.
Me and Todd completely talked to him for the last 15 minutes before that, how you are for sure in, this guy didn't draw, you're in, and then we just boosted him up to drop him down.
He missed the top 8 by 0.00007.
That was 3 zeros.
Yeah, it is 7 10,000ths.
0007.
Yeah.
That's what, your round 1 opponent?
No, I'm pretty sure it's
getting a draw instead of a game loss.
I'm pretty sure it's just a rounding error.
Yeah, I think it's actually your round 4 opponent mulliganed 1 extra time than the other person.
That's about right. It was rough, and it was rough.
Yeah, brutal.
All right,
you turned in your match slip later than someone else. That's
just came down to timing.
Well, you guys are about to go deep in the tank for the next Pro Tour. But before that, we're going to get Corey's input on Dominaria, the set you've all been waiting for, or something like that. Yeah, the one, the only, the not Masters 25.
So here's what we're going to do a little bit differently. Normally we will spend the first 25 minutes of the episode talking about the first 3 cards. And then at the end, I was like, hey, I made a list of 10 cards I want to talk about for EDH. I think they matter. And I did hours of prep. And they're going to go, we've already been podcasting for 2 hours. And then I say them real fast in a minute. And everyone's like, you missed one. So we're not going to do that this time.
The only false part of that statement is that you've never done hours of prep for anything in your life.
I've never had to. Try being naturally talented. So anyway, I did 0.25 hours of prep for this. Which is the smallest divisible amount of time that you can prep. So I feel good.
Is that not 0.0007 hours of prep?
Double deck.
Jeez. I think you missed a 0 in there, actually, DJ.
I think so. Giving him too much credit.
Yeah. All So we are going
to. I want to talk about. We're going to do that. We're not going to talk about Karn. Karn's $34. Don't buy it. Okay, good. We're done.
Well, yes, that is true. We are not going to spend a lot of time on it. But Corey, is Karn busted?
Karn seems pretty insane. I mean, just the fact that it's a colorless planeswalker that can go into any strategy, and I mean, it protects itself decently. I mean, I guess
it's not 7 or 8 mana like other colorless planeswalkers.
Exactly. When the 7 mana Karn is already busted, try making it a little cheaper. That seems safe.
Yeah.
So by protecting itself, are you referring to the fact that it actually makes a dude, or just that it has a giant amount of loyalty to start?
That it can make a dude. Like any way that it can protect itself is usually the number one key to having a good standard worthy planeswalker.
Yeah, you play it, you make a construct, and then you
chump with it.
Yeah, exactly. And then
chump with it, and then untap the next turn when you can actually use it, plus play another spell to back it up. Like that's how you gain control of a game.
Yeah, just play your Scarab God on turn 5 after you play Karn, and then just ask people to deal with it.
No. You played a champion on turn 3 and discarded a Scarab God. Now you played a Liliana, tick down, got a Scarab God, and have a Karn. Yeah.
Oh god, that's probably something you're actually gonna do.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's what I have been doing, minus the Karn.
Jeez. Yeah, that seems pretty good.
Do you need a Karn if you're doing junk like that? Jeez.
Yeah. Well, it is.
Do you need a legendary planeswalker, or do you want a legendary planeswalker?
Okay, put it in the deck.
For what it's worth, unlike the last Pro Tour, there is a standard Pro Tour for this set, so we could see card spike. That said, Karn at 35, more likely to come down than it is to go up.
Yeah, for sure.
Mox Amber.
There's no way it'll stay there.
Mox Amber, $27 pre-order price. Is this the Mox like all the other Moxes that inevitably turns out to be broken, or is it finally a bad Mox?
I think it's a Mox that you really struggle to make mana with on turn 1, and I don't know how much I like a Mox that does that.
Yeah, no, but I think the hype on this is outrageously high.
Yeah.
For what it's gonna do, I really don't think that's gonna be that great of a card.
I don't think it's unplayable, but I agree that it's
definitely not.
Yeah.
But.
I don't think it's the second most valuable card in the set.
No, I mean it's just going to be a thing that goes into some decks and allows them to get 3 on turn 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
And whatever. Yeah. It is what it is. It's not exactly worth $27.
Those who don't know, it's a 0-cost Mox that taps for 1 mana of a color of your energy. Yeah.
That was more accurate than I expected you to get it. All right, so next up is Teferi Timebender. Is this just the intro deck Planeswalker? It is, right? Okay,
yeah, and he's like $3 less than the intro deck is, and doesn't the intro deck have a booster pack?
It has 2.
Yeah, I think.
But
I mean, this thing's obviously going to be $5, just like all the rest of them in a minute. So,
but I mean, those Planeswalkers being $5 is more relevant than you think, because
it is.
There's a lot of people that just think those Planeswalkers are garbage, and they're not. Like we buy Liliana's. What's the Almond Cat Liliana? It's a bad one, but like whatever the
Almond Cat Liliana.
Death Wielder or whatever.
Death Wielder. Yeah, Death Majesty's a real one.
Like, we were buying that at the booth last weekend for $4.
Yeah.
Well, a Johnny Valiant Protector got above 10, and I was buying the Aether Revolt Planeswalker decks, busting the booster packs, and listing the Johnnies on TCG Player for like $11.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Next up is Shaundra. Bullet Pyromancer, same thing, right? That's just, intro deck, 6 mana Planeswalker. Meh. All right, here we get a real one.
Teferi, actually, in the deck, there's a legendary creature, and it's like his daughter is like a healer or some crap like that, and everyone's like, what'd she do? She tutors for him. Yeah, she just tutors for him. That's all she does.
Yep.
It's like, I'm the healer. What do? I go and get my dad, and then he takes you back in time before you were injured. You're healed.
I mean, to be fair, if that's the story, I'm in. That sounds good.
Well, everyone's kind of talking about how that's super sexist because, like,
yes, I mean, it's
like the only thing she does is goes and gets her dad and asks him for help.
It is a little bit of a questionable oversight from a company like Wizards, right? But I mean, it's not like it's probably not a big deal in the scheme of things, but it is just kind of an odd oversight.
But the next card is not a weak female character. It is Lyra Dawnbringer.
We skipped Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, bro.
Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. This is a real Teferi. It's 5 mana, blue-white, +1, draw a card, starts with 4 loyalty. At the beginning of the next end step, untap 2 lands so you can untap and have counterspells. -3, put a target permanent into its owner's library, third from the top. -8, you get an emblem whenever you draw a card. Exile a permanent. It's $13. Is this card going to do anything, Corey?
I think that it has possibility because, like I said, the one major thing that you need from a good Planeswalker is protecting itself.
Right.
And basically getting rid of a card, like putting it third from the top, that's pretty much getting rid of a card, like especially with Field of Ruins and stuff, destroying lands and shuffling it away. I think this card would be good. The only problem is that it's blue and white. And,
right, that's what I would say. It doesn't have a deck, right?
Exactly. Like, it really doesn't. I could see, like, blue-black mid-range splashing for something like that, but, it just doesn't seem super necessary.
Yeah, it just seems unlikely. I mean, there are blue-white decks are obviously a thing, and they do exist, right? And you could, it is an alternate win condition to approach in decks like that.
It doesn't kill them.
Well, right, but whatever you want to kill them with will eventually kill them if they have no.
I'm just saying you can't run, because sometimes the approach decks just have no other way to win, and you can't just do that.
Right, you have to play your one. You just have play one approach, but if it gets play like the Regal Caracal or whatever it is you board in. But regardless, Teferi, as long as you have a way to eventually end the game, Teferi is a like a win condition. And
you got a way to end the game in EDH. You get his emblem, and then you play Teferi's puzzle box.
Yeah.
And then you exile all of their permanents.
Yeah, that's pretty sick too, actually.
No, I can see that being a 2-of or something in an approach deck. Like, why not,
And it does have the ability, for what it's worth, you play it, you plus it up to 5, you draw a card, and you get to untap 2 lands that have a removal spell.
Or an Essence Scatter or something. That would be a huge play.
But it's not worth $13. Let's go to the next card.
Yeah, probably not. But I don't think it's necessarily that far off if it, has a good Pro Tour weekend or something. It's
I bet it'll hold pretty evenly at that. I would imagine that
at least for the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
All right.
And then it's either going to skyrocket or plummet.
Lyra Dawnbringer is the best card in the set for people like me.
It's a Baneslayer Angel.
Probably like one of the best cards in the set. Period.
Well, this is like the Immortal Sun, where this card's price will never change ever, and we're gonna be this card is just going to go up over time no matter what, and it's gonna be great.
From $11?
Yes. It's not gonna go up from 11 to 15 immediately, but it's gonna go to 11. It's gonna be go down to 6 or 7 or whatever in the set spot, and it's gonna just creep back up over time.
Yeah, flying
it's in legendary Mythic Angel Lord. It's like the Immortal Sun. It's just the casual, all-stariest casual.
Well, that's one scenario. The other scenario is people are like, hey, we like a Baneslayer even if it's legendary in Standard, and then the card goes to 25.
Yes, I think this card could easily spike.
I think this card will spike, to be honest. Okay. You guys remember playing with Baneslayer back in the day? It completely dominated a format.
Anytime they bring back a card, they're like, do you remember Icy Manipulator? It's like, I don't know, man.
Well, that's true.
I don't know, man.
But keep in mind, I had just started playing Magic competitively when Baneslayer came out, and I was playing with Bloodbraid Elf in my deck, right? And as we have seen, Bloodbraid Elf is a pretty broken card itself, and I would still just bang my head against the wall whenever anybody would play a $50 Wallet Slayer Angel, and that little broke college student me with my Bloodbraid Elves and Ball Lightnings couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So,
Wallet Slayer, I like that.
I have some memories of Baneslayer.
Vythian Stinger with Basilisk Collar, man. Don't you remember that deck? You Bloodbraid into Stoneforge Mystic to go get your collar?
Yeah.
Oh, those were the days.
Oh, yeah. That was filthy.
My point is, this was a very high-powered Standard format in which Baneslayer Angel was just insane. And we probably, especially after rotation, are not going to have that higher power.
I can also...
this card is insane.
Yeah, I think this card is actually scary and a little bit unhealthy for a format sometimes because, as of right now, what real answer does Red have against this card besides, double removal spells? A card like this really forces out a certain kind of strategy, which I think is unhealthy for a game. But
that's a good point, and that's what we've kind of said about the idea of Stoneforge in Modern, right? Is that the things it's good against, it's so good against. And you're right, Red doesn't really have any way to do anything about this.
It really forces the decks to go towards Red-Black for unlicensed and stuff, It's going to completely force out straight mono red, I would imagine. Or they're going to start playing Puncturing Blasts or whatever that 4-mana sorcery is. But it's already kind of played to deal with Scarab God, so I can see it.
Yeah, the thing is there are answers in theory like if you play black, obviously Vraskic's Contempt's a card if you go heavy black, but even I've seen Hour of Glory pop up. But post rotation, and obviously that's looking a little far in advance.
You
but
threaten
there's just nothing there. There's just nothing there. Yeah, you could threaten it, but
if they play this at a precarious amount of life, they tap out for it. I think a threaten gets you there, but then you got to be way ahead as the red deck.
Yeah. Also, I don't think there's a good threaten.
Definitely a narrow way to deal with that, but
definitely. Isn't there a threaten staple to a creature? Well, it's like 7 mana in this set. Never mind.
Yeah. I think then this is. I think at $11 though, I'm not like Mono Red just won the last Grand Prix. It's going to go up.
Buying them? Are you buying these at 11? Yes or no?
I am aggressively trading for them at the pre-release. How about that?
Okay.
If you're a player, just buy them.
Yeah.
We just talked about how good the card is.
It's like
the
card doesn't go from like 11 to 0, right? The card has a soft cap because it's a casual mythic legendary angel lord. Like this card's bottom is
worst case scenario
it
goes from 12 to 7. Best case scenario goes from 11 to 40 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Especially at the Pro Tour, because Mono Red just went 18-0 at a Grand Prix, right?
It's gonna be represented. Yeah.
So the odds of this going up, it seems like there's more potential upside than potential downside.
Yeah, I definitely like this.
And honestly, what a comforting Magic cards. Have you read that flavor text? Come on.
I haven't. I'm going to. You are not.
Yeah, I'm not a nerd, so I don't read the flavor text.
You never. Jason wants to write flavor text.
I do want to write flavor text.
That's the subtext to that one. You're
really
alone.
jealous of all the flavor text.
You are not alone. I am here with you.
You never were.
You are not alone. You can win this game just with me.
Yeah, I'm alone. Don't worry, I can handle it. I'm about to swing the life totals 10 points in your favor.
All right, next card, Shalai, Voice of Flinty.
Shamone.
Shalaya.
3/4 flyer. You, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof, but she does not have hexproof herself. 4 mana, put a +1/+1 counter, or 4 and 2 green, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Pre-ordering for $9 though.
Yeah, this card's terrible.
That's a card that's going to plummet.
But it's plummeting because if you look at the price trend on the pre-sales, it started way higher.
I would like to sell every one of these and buy every one of the Lyras I can.
Yeah, for sure. But I also don't think this card has a bulk rare potential. It's going to be a $2 min, because again, legendary angel lord, that Lord-esque effect or whatever that is green white.
Yeah. For what it's worth, I guess it curves into your Lyra pretty well, but angel tribal.
Sure.
Yeah, if it was 3 mana, maybe this card would be playable, but it's 4, that's just too much.
Yeah, it's not standard constructed playable, but it is definitely a casual card that I will want to buy a lot of as a vendor and then sell a lot of relatively quickly.
When it's bulk.
I could see it being a decent commander just because the activation puts you in a second color.
Yeah, but DJ, it is going to be $2, and people are just going to think that it's bulk. And
right, but I'm going to pay $1.50 on it and then sell it for $3. This is that kind of card.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. All right, next up. First Saga, History of Benalia, 3 mana. First chapter and the second chapter is created 2/2 White Knight token with Vigilance. Chapter 3 is Knight you scroll, get +2/+1.
More like History of Banality, am I right? Boom.
I mean, maybe.
High five.
Corey, are these sagas, are they good? Is this a card we should care about?
Okay, so I was going to actually have a follow-up question before that.
Oh, yeah.
What are these saga cards?
Okay, man. All right, that's a good question, though, because we'll break it down for everyone listening.
Who knows? Everyone listening knows.
I, of course, already know.
They are enchantments that come into play, and they start on Chapter 1.
Yep.
And in your draw step, you add a lore counter to it and move to the next chapter.
No, it's after your draw step, so it's in your first main phase, which is really weirdly worded.
It is really weird, actually.
Richard Garfield designed this.
But then it moves to through each chapter, and when it hits the final chapter, after the effect goes on the stack, they disappear. Right? They go to your grave.
They're sacrificed.
Right. So the way this works is History of Benalia comes into play for 3 mana. It's an enchantment. It immediately goes to Chapter 1, which is to create a 2/2 White Knight token with Vigilance.
Sure.
Then on your next turn...
You get that right away?
Yes.
Get that right away? Okay.
You do. And then on your next turn, you'll get another one. And then on the turn after that, so now we're looking at turn 5, your Knights will get +2/+1 until end of turn, and History of Benalia will go to the graveyard.
So it's just a one-time effect, and then it goes to your yard right away?
Number 3 is yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Each chapter is its own. It happens once.
Oh, I could see that being
interesting. It's the story of the time there were 2 nights, basically.
A simpler time.
Yeah, the point of these is they tell the story of some history of Dominaria, and Richard Garfield designed them, and they're cool in the way they work. And his original concept of them,
shenanigans.
Yeah, and you can add and remove counters, and it will, I believe, trigger.
Yeah, so if you proliferate,
who plays the 2 knights in the movie? Is it Liam Neeson and Richard Gere? Because that would be sweet. I'm more interested in that hypothetical scenario.
Liam Neeson is definitely a go-it-alone kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine?
He doesn't need any help.
Yeah, like Taken 4, Liam Neeson gets a buddy. Like, I don't think it would work.
He had that dude he was calling the whole time. He was always calling his buddy for support. What are you talking about? Did you see any of the Taken movies? I saw Taken, then I watched it again and pretended I saw Taken 2.
Well, I don't think I saw Taken 2. I did see Taken 1. I think I kept a body count in that movie.
Then I watched some of Train Taken, and I was like, why am I watching Train Taken? This is dumb. This is like,
that had a different name, right?
This is like Under Siege 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
every time the sequel's on a train, you're like, I'm all set.
The only movie I've ever watched is Liam Neeson.
Or what about Speed 2 when it was on a boat?
Though. Speed 2 would have been good on a train.
The only Liam Neeson movie I've ever seen where he has a friend, they still cut him off from his friend, and then he got cut in half. So.
You're talking about A Walk Through the Gravestones. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, also called Star Wars. Liam Neeson, he goes it alone.
Yeah. He's an individual.
This card individual.
Liam Neeson wouldn't buy this card at $9. Next card.
It's a mythic, too.
It is a mythic.
The rarity on swing for 8, but I don't know, man.
Like the Armageddon one, you would think would be mythic, and this one would be rare. But
the Armageddon one's sweet.
How does that work with Snake now, huh?
What?
How does that work with Winding Constrictor? Because it doubles the counters that you put something on. Does it go 1 to 3?
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Ooh, got him with the rules.
These are questions everyone else has been asking for 4 weeks. I
made a point to not look at the spoiler because I don't know if you guys have done much Pro Tour testing where it's 2 weeks beforehand. Trust me, we get our fill of looking at Magic cards, so I'm trying to put it off, you know?
Yeah, that's what I told him.
No, I get you.
For what it's worth, you said, what about Winding Constrictor? And I was like, oh, what about Winding Constrictor? Good thing DJ knew. All right,
everybody listening to this podcast knew, and they would have been like, you guys are goddamn idiots.
Well, they're at least going to pretend that they knew. They're at least going to pretend they knew. All right, next up is Muldrotha, the Gravetide. It is a legendary soul-type creature, 3 mana and then black, green, blue. 6/6. During each of your turns, you may play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. This is your commander goodies.
This card is ridiculous.
It is pretty stupid.
This card could be insane.
Oh, you think so? Like in standard? Even at 6 mana?
Maybe. Like
play your Scarab God from your graveyard. Boom.
Well, but I mean, like you get a land right away too. Like if you're playing like Champion of Wits, you know, like this card screams Champion of Wits, you know.
That's true, and I believe that. Like, we have seen those decks in the past splash for Vraska, so it's not, out of the realm of possibility.
This could be like a good finisher, just like a one-of in those decks. Oh, man.
Yeah. For what it's worth, this is also sick to pitch to Champion and then reanimate with Liliana.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing is, like, the most popular removal spell right now is Vraska's Contempt, and paying 6 mana to just play that and maybe get a land and, like, a Fatal Push, and then getting Contempted.
Well,
it's
permanent.
Permanent. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he meant cast out. He meant cast out.
Yeah.
Plus the thing is, he doesn't give you an extra land drop. So in order to get a land drop, you have to play it on turn 7.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I kind of thought you could cast removal spell and stuff from the yard. Yeah, that's not as good.
Yeah. Plus, Vraska's Contempt will rotate at the same time this does.
This is play Liliana though from the graveyard.
This is EDH.
That's true.
This is a busted EDH card. It's not $8.
And it's not. I don't even. People ask me what Muldrotha's price is going to do, and I don't care. I care what the 60 cards that go in the Muldrotha deck that are going to go up.
Actually, think about that.
Diamond, am I right?
Think about that though, like ticking up Liliana on 5, and then like down ticking to put that into play, and then play a land from the yard. That would be pretty sick.
Yeah.
This made Command Beacon spike to like $30.
Which, yeah, and, you know, LED, but that was already just a good card to buy out if you're that kind of scumbag. So there's just a lot of stuff that's going to go up based on this, and the stuff that Commander players are actually going to play hasn't really been identified. No one's running out and buying an LED for this deck.
Right.
You know, that's just like Team Rudy speculating. So I think EDH Rec will have some data in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and I do think you'll have time to actually look and see what people are buying. Yep. And look at some data before you just baselessly speculate.
Well,
people think that EDH is solved because people were like, oh, cats, we bought Waiting in the Weeds, boom. Speculators figured out EDH faster than EDH players, but they're idiots. They're completely wrong.
Do you think that this deck looks similar to Damia decks, Jason?
I think people are saying, do you build this or that? I think these do different things as much as Damia is like super value based the way this is, because that's always constantly filling your hand back up and encouraging you to dump it. This encourages you to dump your hand too.
Right.
I think this is just a different kind of thing. It's going to encourage you to play like spell bombs and
more permanents as well, sort of thing, rather than yeah. Okay, fair enough. All right.
I think you're going to be dredging more than you do with Damia.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Ballard. Jaya Ballard. I knew I was probably going to get that right.
Well, it's still named Jay with an A on the end, so it's Jay.
Yeah, and maybe it's Ballard.
Maybe it's Spanish and it's Yaya Ballard.
Yeah.
Yaya Ballard.
No, Bayard.
I don't know if they really just want to make this like scream red, or if they think it's powerful enough they don't want it splashed. But it is 2 and then triple red, which might be the first time we've seen a Planeswalker have triple colors in its cost, like triple of a single color.
No, wasn't there a triple green Garrick?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I think there was one. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, Jaya has not aged well.
Yeah. Yeah.
When 78 years old, look as well you will not.
Yeah.
Or something.
All right. It's 5 mana for 5 loyalty, +1, add red, but only to cast instant or sorceries. -1, discard 3, then draw that.
No, it's another +1, Corbin.
Oh, good call. It is +1. -8. You get an emblem with you may cast instants and sorceries from your graveyard, and if it's cast this way, exile it. So I will say that Shaundra Flame Caller, the 6 mana one, had the ability to
kill a creature.
Right, and cycle away the hand, but it's to kill a creature that really made a difference.
Exactly. This card will not be good. Yeah. It doesn't protect itself. That's the main first important thing to a good Planeswalker.
How much cheaper than $6 can it really get?
I mean,
Planeswalkers nowadays, look at Jay's Cunning Castaway at 2 or 3.
Yeah. I agree. Like, in this set, at least we think, it's going to be opened a lot. So.
Next card.
Yeah.
Steel Leaf Champion.
Ooh, this one's
Champion.
Sweet. Ooh.
It's a pretty
Llanowar Elf?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Ooh.
If this goes, it goes as a 4 of, I think. So that's something to think about.
Oh, yeah.
Mono Green Stompy.
That would be a 6 of if you could.
Yeah. Mono Green Stompy and Modern. Here we come.
Yep.
That's the first place I'm going.
I was playing the Bailoff, man.
Do
what?
Know,
the
leatherback Bailoff.
Yeah, this
that's what I'm saying. You get it. Well, or you played alongside it. I don't know
if there's room. But I mean, it's sure good.
But even in standard, this is going to be good. I think, right? Like, the fact that this exists with Llanowar Elves means that it's going to be a deck, period.
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
And this on turn 2 is scary.
It conveniently doesn't get blocked by Aetherborn, which I think is a big deal.
That's a very good point, actually. Yep. Yeah, because of the can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less clause.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is actually pretty sick. You're like, play my irrigated farmland, and they're like, cool, here's a 5/4.
Yeah, like if you're going first against any somewhat controlled deck, good luck. Smashing him for 5.
Everything with Death Touch can't block this.
This does get blown out by Cast Away or whatever.
Cast Out?
Or no, it's a 2 mana Journey to Nowhere that with Flash.
Baffling End.
No. Yeah. It's there's a new one in Dominaria. It has Flash and it gets tapped creatures.
Yeah, it's only for tapped ones.
Yeah. How much does that one cost again?
2. It's 1 and a white.
Yeah, that's true. That card's going to be good. That card's going to be very good.
It's interesting as we talk through this. What this is illustrating to me is the power of Llanowar Elves and why they kept it out of Standard for a while. Because
Llanowar Elf is a scary card for a format, you know?
Yeah. It's like we're talking about this. And it's like you have a 2-mana answer to it. Sweet. Well, okay, you spent turn doing it, and now they have 4 mana. They get to play something else stupid.
I think one thing that we're gonna see come Pro Tour time is like the adding Llanowar Elf. You get a lot more creature intensive decks. Yeah. And you're like starting to see Fatal Push not be like a 4 of, or like Sultai Snake isn't even playing like Fatal Push's main and stuff. Fatal Push is gonna be like a 4 of, or any black deck's gonna be playing like 4 of them now. And
it's
like
already a $7 card.
Yeah, I know, and I think it's only going to go up. Even when it goes out of Standard, it's still going to be really high,
It's also interesting that this dodges Sweltering Suns, which would be one of the ways you would typically answer a Llanowar Elf-based deck. Yeah, but this dodges that. So, okay.
Do we like it at $5? So how many are we buying?
Don't buy it at 5. There's a promo too. Okay, next card.
Yeah. There is a promo. I do think this card's like perpetually $3 though.
Yes. Next.
No, I think that card's gonna be fine.
clearly wants to move on. I think it's because we're at the 35-minute mark and we've done 11 cards.
Yep. We're not actually at the 35-minute mark.
I have been recording for 35 minutes.
We recorded before we started the podcast, DJ. This isn't hard to.
But
whatever. I don't care.
Let's go to the uncommons as well.
Yeah,
we have to. That's where all the cards are.
I like your style.
That's why there are 2 cards over $20 and everything else is 5, because the value is spread down into the uncommons, because all the uncommons are commanders.
Which is good. That's good for Wizards to do that. I think it's really cool, and especially
it's 4 mana and it comes in with a saga counter, and it's got a bunch of weird.
It's a lore counter, DJ.
You called it a chapter. I don't want to hear it.
That's what Garfield called him, man.
Yeah, well, Garfield doesn't get to name stuff.
You
should see the original drafts he had of this shit. It was like a page of notebook paper, just like.
Yeah, Garfield doesn't get to name Magic cards or
doesn't
Magic.
Where does he get off?
Yeah. That guy clearly has had no impact on the naming the convention.
You can make some suggestions, and they're like, okay, Mr. Garfield, thanks for the input.
Yeah.
see you in 8 years.
Please go back to your room now. No.
I think you should use the word whereas more in your rules text. Okay, Mr. Garfield.
You got it,
Dr. Garfield.
I'm just imagining, like, underneath the dragon at Wizards or something, they just keep Garfield locked away and bring him out every 8 years.
Do you know who I am? I invented Robo Rally.
Be like, I wear different types of socks.
Yeah, trendy and cool, fellow humans.
I thought it was funny, the story of how they got him to work on this set, though, where like both Garfield and Mark Rosewater just thought the other was going to contact them to have him work on a set.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
I didn't know the story.
Mark Rosewater was like, yeah, you can come back and work on a set anytime. You just need to ask. And Garfield thought like Mark Rosewater was going to ask him to come on. So there was just like wires crossed, and he didn't get to work on a set for like 8 years because he thought that he was just waiting for a phone call.
I mean, for what it's worth.
Seems like some poor communication.
Oh, for sure.
For what it's worth, him working on a set every 8 years is really good for the marketing of the game.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I
all right,
like
so
Phyrexian Scriptures.
Phyrexian Scriptures.
Not a $5 card. Move on.
Yeah, I mean, Chapter 2 is a Wrath.
It is, but it's also like Chapter 2. So you get to layer it and play around it a lot.
Yeah, it's a 5. It's a 5. Well, it's a 5.
The next one's a tough one. Can we spend some more time on the tough
Do what?
ones?
Hold up, Corey. What did you have to say about it?
This is such a weird designed card, though. Like, enhance a creature and then kill it next turn.
No, it doesn't blow it up.
No.
It makes it an artifact, dude. Read the card.
And then it becomes an artifact.
You're a better player than me, so I'm going to shit on you where I can.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough.
It is kind of an odd card, but I agree.
Remember, first time seeing these cards.
All right, Cabal Stronghold. EDH, please.
Ooh.
Right?
This is my favorite card in the set. I love this card.
This card,
not financially, but
it's a fair Cabal Coffers, but I like it.
It's not
legendary,
Cabal Coffers, but you still play it.
It's a Cabal Stronghold, not the Cabal Stronghold.
How is this card not legendary?
Right? How is Valakut not legendary?
Well, you think they'd learn from Valakut, right? Like, that's the thing. You know, it's one thing to mess up Valakut, it's another thing to mess up a card after Valakut, right?
This is a good deal worse than Cabal Coffers.
I think that the reason it's not legendary is because like it's just bad in multiples anyway. Like because they don't count each other.
Sure.
I could see this being in like a green black Hour Promise deck though, like easily, you know?
Really?
Just basic swamps?
It's got gotta be like most like green, like Hour Promise has to be your only green card then.
But you could probably play it as like a 1 or 2 of,
Like that's all you'd really want is as your only green card, you know? And by turn 5 you don't have to have that many.
I guess it gets...
No, man, you need 4 swamps deserts to get a mana out of this.
Are you not playing deserts then? Because Hour Promise would... I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you couldn't play deserts in this. There's no way.
You need 4 swamps before it's better to not tap this for colorless.
No, this card is going to be like frustratingly good in like chainer decks or something. And
I am very excited for Gonti.
Yeah,
exactly.
I am excited for Gonti Commander. I'm excited for Gonti in Brawl.
Don't pay $5
DJ's
for
just
this.
in on Gonti. Yeah, agreed.
No,
because it's way worse than Cabal Coffers, but it's still really good.
It's not a bulk rare, though. It's like a $2 or $3 card.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, tops. It's just not going to have a home in Standard, so.
Right.
Joyra.
Jorah, Weatherlight Captain, 3/3 for 4. Yeah. Get
I say me for the Joyhaven.
Whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card.
Do we care about this in Standard?
Artifacts, legendaries, and sagas, huh?
Yes.
And legendaries includes planeswalkers now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't know, man. I don't know if this is Standard.
There's no way.
4 mana for a 3/3. Pass.
This is one of the 10 cards in the set I want to talk about just because of the other stuff. Like Egg stuff, Storm stuff, Aetherflux Reservoir.
True. That's true.
All that stuff, like all the stuff that in this set that enables her, like her familiar. You want that crap in foil. Like, I think this enables a lot of cards, but I don't think this card particularly herself matters. Maybe, like, the foils, which are what?
I don't think her familiar matters at foil either.
Well, also, the card is $40 in foil right now.
Yeah,
so.
that's
$40?
Pre-sale, so.
It's like, one person's bought it or whatever, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I mean, 4 mana is just too much. You know,
it's another Pure Steel Paladin in that deck for what it's worth. Don't think it's worth much, but for what it's worth.
This just enables so many cards, egg stuff. Like you just look, people are already brewing deck lists. You could go online and see what people are pairing with this. And once EDH Rec starts like tabulating the data and being like, well, this many people are playing Thran Dynamo, this many people are playing this. I actually went and bought not Helm of Obedience. What's the other helm? The helm that makes all spells 1 less.
Awakening.
Even
yes, Helm of
Awakening.
Yeah, stone calendars, crap like that. Like all that stuff's got some upside.
Get your bone saws now.
I feel like I don't know, because like with decks like this in Commander, I feel like this is the type of deck that you build thinking it's going to be lots of funny shenanigans, and then you end up playing it, sitting at the table jerking yourself for 15 minutes, and then everyone's like, okay, that's enough of that deck forever. So
you're buying to get ahead of people buying based on hype because this is a really linear build, and linear builds are good because everyone goes after the same cards.
Good for speculating.
You want TCG player because you're 2 weeks ahead of everybody, and then by the time they realize the deck's garbage, it doesn't matter. Their money is in your pocket.
Hopefully, yeah. It's a risky strategy.
You are taking money from people who lack imagination, and you just have to be okay with that.
All right, next up, Brand Temporal Gateway, 4 mana tap. And it's 4 mana artifact, legendary artifact. You can put a historic permanent card from your hand into play. So it's a bad
Quicksilver amulet. But so is Bell-based Portal, and DJ loves fucking Bell-based Portal. So
you're just mad because I was right about that card.
My God, why do we care about this? All I know is that the art on this card is weird. I don't even remember what it does.
This is a card that probably doesn't drop below 4.
Oh,
really?
Okay, I disagree.
Not for standard play, not for standard play. No, I'm not saying it's good in
this
standard.
Card is like I'm not surprised if this card gets above $1.
I'm not saying this card's good in standard. I just think it's a good like Quicksilver Amulet-esque card. It's gonna have a lot of casual appeal. Like it's just, more like Elvish Piper-esque, like Quicksilver.
Yeah, I wish
Amulet-esque,
people realize that sets other than standard are the only sets that really matter.
Like this card's, I don't even think it's that good in Commander. This is just like a 60 card.
I don't think this card is that good, man.
It's a 60 card cat. It doesn't have to be good. I'm saying it's going to be popular. I'm not saying the card is good, but like Quicksilver.
What's your buy-in?
Yeah, this card's $1 to me.
So what's your buy-in? I think it hits $1.
I'm not saying it's spiking or anything like that. I'm just saying.
Wait, no. What do you think it's worth, DJ?
Like 3. Like 3.5.
I will take
in what, a year or 18 months?
Like 2 months.
Here's the real question.
Like 2 months.
Here's the real question. Would you guys even play this in limited?
No.
In limited?
No.
Yeah.
Even on legendary in every pack, no.
Yeah. I'm taking the hard under at 3.5 in 2 months or whatever TJ just said.
If it's $1 in like 2 months, I'm buying like a bunch of these.
No, that's reasonable,
but
fair, there's no way it's $3.
That's legit strat. Yeah. You know what else I'm buying $1 million of if it's $1 in 2
Gilded
months?
Lotus.
No, I'm not buying any of those.
What?
It's in the Chandra deck.
What?
It's in the Chandra Planeswalker deck.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, why? What?
I don't give a shit. I'm buying every Gilded Lotus I see.
Is anyone going to buy the Chandra Planeswalker? Like, what would Gilded Lotus have to get to the short term set to buy the deck?
It took like 2 or 3 years from Gilded Lotus to get like from 4 to 9 from like its M13 printing.
I'm buying every Gilded Lotus at $2.
Sure,
man.
I'll sell all of them to you.
At $2?
Yes.
In. Deal.
I don't know.
How many are you going to get? Fill my order.
It's not going to hit 9 ever again.
No.
You're going to wait like 2.5 years for a card to jump from 2 to 5.
No, man, it's not about that because I know I'll put them all in the store and sell them all regardless. Like,
yeah,
and I do think
you can't hold on to this card. You DJ, just pay 40% a TCG player and you just like flip these all day.
DJ, look at for one, the market price on the original one hit 12, and it was just a steady climb year after year. And a card like Zendikar Resurgent is a card that just got reprinted. You're like, oh, it's dead. It hasn't grown at all, and then it spiked. Like sometimes, plus standard play is a thing, and this card ramps pretty hard. Like I want them all at $2.
Maybe.
Corey, is it gonna get? Is this a standard thing?
I don't think so.
Really? Okay. I know it wasn't good the first time around. Well,
yeah, it's the thing. Like, right? What is 5? What does this Lotus bridge into? You know, like that's the main thing you got to ask.
This is 9 mana. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's nothing that costs like something that's super high converted mana cost that you ramp into like an Eldrazi spell or something. Like I don't know. Bolus? Yeah, but like think about it. You know, you could play like a 2-mana accelerant and cast it 1 turn later than playing a Gilded Lotus. You know,
wow, you just got to bring logic into it. Don't you?
What are you, a fucking fire marshal?
I agree with you on those things. I also will double down on. I'll take all the Gilded Lotuses at $2.
Yeah.
Next
I don't care if it's a Chandra deck personally.
Also, the other thing is that like a shit ton of people bought FTV 20 after Jace got unbanned, so there's a huge like overstock of Gilded Lotuses in the market right now.
Garbage, bendy, shitty looking foils. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
I think this card's gonna be good.
Yeah, Traxos is a 7/7 for 4 mana. As trample.
Have you heard of the Krug before just now?
It's the city that Mishra destroyed with the Phyrexian Dragon engines.
Okay.
Oh, you're such a nerd.
You are a nerd, man.
You asked.
Give yourself a wedgie.
Go write some flavor text about it.
I will. I'll be like, I've never heard of Krug. Maestra said, I've never fucking heard of Krug before.
Maybe if you know the Krug, you get to write some flavor text.
Wow, the two of you trying to out-nerd insult each other right now is just pathetic.
It's really impressive.
Well, I think knowing about flavor text is for nerds, but I also want to do it, so.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, this is a 7/7 trampler that doesn't it enters tap and doesn't untap. Whenever you cast a historic spell, untap it. So you think this is good because you just curve it into like a planeswalker or something, Corey?
And use that voltaic dude to
like,
untap.
how many times do you actually have to untap it to win the game? Like, probably once, you know?
So you don't think that it's 4 mana, it does nothing the turn you play it? You don't think that's too high a cost?
I don't. Like, I think if you play like a really low to the ground aggressive deck, like let's say a Llanowar Elves deck, if you can find a way to get some historic stuff in there, like Rowanus, playing a Rowanus after this.
Rowanus is very good. Yeah.
You know, I mean, going turn 2, the 5/4 that can't be blocked.
That's you're right.
Turn 3, this. Next turn, attack, then play a Rowanus. Second main phase, like you're dead.
You can just play Rowanus.
What's the highest this can get?
Okay,
for the highest this can get.
For what it's worth,
I will be a 4 of.
This enters tapped.
You can just play Rowanus on turn 2 and then play this on turn 3 and attack with Rowanus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it enters tapped, so you have to play one.
Okay, I just saw that.
Yeah, but so, like, I mean, that doesn't necessarily. It just means you play your run as pre-combat, right? Like
true. But, so then, realistically, that kind of means you have to play 2 historic spells to essentially more than likely
to get 2 taps with it. But there is another card that untaps an artifact or something on an instep.
We'll take Servant or something like that.
So now we're getting combo. We're getting kind of
that's terrible. That doesn't do anything in the rest of the deck, though. I agree.
Now, but Mox Amber does. So it is just something to keep in mind.
Yep, and I mean it's pretty nice with Karn.
Yes, that is also true. Are
you sure you're a good player? Because you're not talking like.
Wow.
You're talking like a Timmy. You're like, oh shit.
I'm much better at playing the game than analyzing. That's a fact. That's Brad's job.
Man, this is. I just want to be in the room, not for the entire 2 weeks, but for like a day, and just watch you guys argue about cards. That's all I want.
Oh my god. We had an argument about whether or not to play 1 or 2 Glory Bringers for probably 4 days. We were literally, every argument would end with one of us storming out of the room and be like, well, you're stupid. Well, you're dumb.
It's just sibling rivalry getting taken to the nth.
Well, you got 9th place by 0.0007%.
Later that night, after he took...
at 4 back-to-back GP top 8s.
After he took 9th, like that whole night, he's like, what are the odds that I would lose back-to-back credit card games? And I'm like, well, about 0.000.
Oh, my gosh. For what it's worth, though, last time I credit card gamed with Brad was right after he had won an SCG Open and then, didn't lose a match after round 4 or something at a GP and won the GP. Then shows up to dinner after we've already eaten a full dinner, buys 1 beer. We're getting ready to game for everything. And he's like, I guess I'll game for it. And we're like, dude, no, you just got 1 beer. You obviously don't need a game for this. We all just bought dinner. And he's like, nah, man. And then he won $50 on the next level.
Really?
Yes. It was absurd. It was like Louisville or something. No, it wasn't Louisville. It was some city last year. It's some GP. Wow. It was just the most absurd thing.
Gamblers.
But it was just, he curved winning an SCG Open into winning the GP into just destroying us all at the credit card game he rolled into.
Wow. Well, when you're running hot, you're running hot. Seth has only lost 2 credit card games in his entire time he's been on our testing team.
Uh-huh.
And one of the times he lost, it was after he just won the Pro Tour, and he offered to pay for dinner, but we just said that we'd credit card game for the tip. And he's like, no, I got it. And we're like, no, we want a game. So we gamed, and he lost for the tip the one time after he wins the Pro Tour and already offered to pay.
Right. That's just normal for Seth. It's when he came, when we were talking to him and BBD at the end of Legacy Day 1 in Seattle, and they were both undefeated. And Brian was like, I didn't really want to play Grixis Delver or whatever, but I guess I ran pretty well above expectations. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good, man. Seth just seems like he ran about in normal expectations. And he goes, I didn't lose a game today, so maybe I was 2 games above expectations. And I was like, come on.
He's a monster. He's a monster. Then he went 2-5 on day 2.
Yeah, day 2 did not go so well for those guys.
So he's human.
Yeah, occasionally.
All right.
Next up, we hit the first of the buddy lands here. Sulphur Falls is $4.50. I assume they're all around this price.
It seems like it'll be a $5 standard playable.
Yeah.
If there's a deck for it, just seems like a $5 card to me. So I think this is
okay. $250-ish, and then one of them spikes based on which one's the best.
Right.
Did we see that with the other color buddy lands?
Yeah, $6 with 4 months.
Well, the thing is though, DJ, there's fewer of these than there were of those.
Because this is the second printing of Sulphur Falls versus the 39th printing of
4th or 5th, of Drunk Catacomb. So I think the floor is a little higher, right? And the ceiling probably is as well. I mean, I think their standard lands are still probably going to be 3 to 4, but I would not at all be surprised to see 6 to 8 on the higher ones.
Considering Sulphur Falls peaked at 15.
Especially considering it's a blue-red land that is still played in Modern, and blue-red lands are usually just
I think he's pretty close. Maybe the numbers are off by $1. Maybe they go to 3 instead of 2, and spike to 7 instead of 6. But I kind of think if you can get
low, 2 is the TCG low.
Right. I would just not.
If you can get the 20 set for $60 or $70, probably just do it. if you don't have them and you just want everything.
Corey, what do these actually do for standard mana bases? Or does it make it different? Like, can people play, for instance, when I played Green Black Snake before the blue got added, the mana felt pretty bad. It actually feels like the mana in the blue, the Sultai version, is sometimes better. Do these change the context of what decks people will actually play?
Definitely. I mean, for sure, but like someone else said, you got to find a deck for this. Like right now, I can't really picture what deck it would go into. Mm-hmm. But yeah, of course, these lands definitely fix your mana.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think they're all obviously going to be pretty good in standard. And it's nice to have them because it was very frustrating playing 2-color decks and feeling like you had worse mana than the 3-color decks.
Exactly, and having like all those like fast lands, Blooming Marsh and stuff.
Right.
Like having a land that comes into play untapped and is a duel is so important. I don't know how many times I was tilted in Seattle just drawing one of those on turn 4, trying to play a Bristling Hydra. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Makes that deck just, from really good to, not the greatest.
Yeah, and it's going to be very important for Black-White Vampires getting Isolate Chapel.
Oh, yeah.
That's one that actually is a 2-color deck that desperately needs it.
Yep.
All right, next up, Chandra's Outburst.
No, Chandra's Outburst is a $1 card. It's mispriced.
Yep. Good, yep. All right, so here we go. First uncommon of the set, everyone thought was rare. One of the most exciting cards of the set, Damping Sphere, 2-mana artifact. If a land would tap for more than 1 mana, it produces colorless instead. And each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each previous spell they cast this turn. So it's your Tron Hoser, it's your Storm Hoser.
Wow.
This card goes to $1-ish.
Yeah, agreed. This card is
uncommon. It's uncommon.
This is Relic of Progenitus levels of sideboard play in Modern. So when it gets cheap, I want them all.
Yeah, I kind of like. I think the foils will probably get pretty affordable too, and I think I like them.
Yes, I want this card in all. Basically, it's just so good. There's so many Modern decks that don't have good ways to interact with Storm specifically, but also Tron. And this is just a colorless answer that everyone can play, and it also has fringe value. It's not just Storm, obviously. It's good against. I mean, I don't think we're playing against Bloodbraid Elf decks, but for what it's worth, it's good against Bloodbraid Elf. It's good against decks like Ad Nauseam. Like, it's just got a lot of applications in Modern, and it's uncommon, so it's going to be a buck, and I want them all.
Yeah, Storm comboing off through this card is pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I've seen some Storm players try to be like, well, it's only your 3rd mana, or your 3rd spell each turn where it's actually better than Thalia, and it's like, yeah, okay, man, but it turns out you want to cast more than 3 spells that turn.
Yeah, no kidding.
It turns out you want your Storm count at like 10, so...
Yeah, and also they're going to play it alongside Thalia. All right, next up, is this a thing? Daragaz Reincarnated?
That's a thing.
Yeah, dude. What do you mean is it a thing?
Daragaz is an actual Magic card.
It has so many words on it.
7/7 words.
2 words.
8 mana. No, the text on the card, man. 8 mana, 7/7, flying trample haste. If it would die, instead exile it with 3 egg counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, if it's exiled with an egg counter, remove an egg counter. Then if it has no egg counters, return it to the battlefield. Man, between this and Rekindling Phoenix, these
I wish
flying
this
things
was
come
exiled
back.
with time counters so that you could do shenanigans.
With Jwara's time bug.
It makes
Clock
me mad
spinning.
that you can't, time crafting this or whatever.
In a 4-color deck?
No, time crafting is the red one. It's the sorcery.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I don't like it.
I don't
It's
either.
a bulk mythic.
Vraska's Contempt, get wrecked.
Yeah. All right, next up is Narumiha.
It's an anagram.
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
For...
Malhainer.
Okay. All right. It's an anagram for Ahum Runa. Okay, whatever. This thing is mythic. Yeah, it's got a bunch of words.
Yeah.
Copying. Look at Jewel Caster Mage. Copying spells isn't
card
good.
Card sucks. All right, next up is the card we talked about earlier, Fairies Daughter, also known as... let's see here.
She has a name, Corbin.
Niambi. I was trying to buy myself time to figure out how to pronounce it. Niambi or Niambi.
She has a name. She doesn't have any abilities, but she has a name.
Yeah. 2 mana. Well, okay, so it's 2 mana, or 2/2 for 3 mana. When it enters the battlefield, you search your library for Teferi Timebender. That's, again, that's just the intro deck thing, right?
Great. Weatherlight.
Okay. Yep. Weatherlight. Now this card is powerful though.
Yeah, Corbin, the Weatherlight exists in Dominaria.
I thought it was destroyed.
Look, man, it could have been destroyed. This could be Weatherlight 2.0.
He read one book, okay?
I haven't read any of them.
He didn't read a book.
I only read one book.
Corbin's never read a book.
He read Animorphs.
Every one of them. And Goosebumps.
Yeah, I was a Goosebumps guy. That's the only.
You know
book I
what?
read.
People can see this on my webcam right now.
Goosebumps was probably like your 11th grade like graduation project.
Back here, people. Back here, looking at it. Behind that drill in the background.
You can get 18 credit for reading Goosebumps
books. Dude, I'm so proud of my Animorphs and Goosebumps collection.
It took like a Windows 95 quiz and like fucking.
I can't wait.
Should a reader beware / are they in for a scare? True or false?
Did you guys see the Goosebumps movie, the live-action movie with Jack Black?
With Jack Black? I kind of want to when my kid's old enough.
It actually was kind of good.
I liked it. it. It was a lot of blast from the past.
Yeah, it was fun. Like,
my wife hates Jack Black, so the only Jack Black movie she likes is The Jackal because he got murdered, but like...
Wow. That's pretty extreme.
It is, right?
Watch Goosebumps. It was fun. Like, it was...
Maybe I will.
It was kind of good.
I just don't want to show it to my kid too early because I don't know.
She might...
What if she isn't scared? That's even scarier.
You know what was actually scary as a kid, though, was the Goosebumps TV show.
I never saw that.
It was like...
Yeah, because you were like,
kind of
not
creepy. Yeah, you weren't born yet. But it was legit kind of creepy for like a kid's show.
I mean, it was no Tales of the Crypt or anything.
Yeah, right. Tales from the Crypt would get me at midnight when I was...
Weatherlight sucks.
Oh, yeah,
right?
that freaky thing popping out of the coffin, that shit was terrifying.
Weatherlight's not a good magic card.
Oh, really? All right, I want Corey's opinion on
that. You guys are
that.
talking about Goosebumps and shit, and you're like, you know what else is scary? An R-rated show on HBO at midnight. Yeah, no shit.
We didn't have HBO, man, so I must have saw it in, like, reruns. All right, so Weatherlight is a 4-mana, 4/5 flying vehicle. It has crew 3. Whenever it does combat damage to a player, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a historic card from among them, put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. A crew of 3 for 4. What do you? Does that kill it as a playable card?
Crew with Slimefoot.
No, I don't think this card's very good. Like, okay. I mean, braids are still going to be everywhere. You know, having to crew 3, that's still a lot. Like, there's not a lot of decks that can consistently crew 3. Like, what are you going to put this in a Mardu deck and replace, like, Hazoret or Chandra? Like, hell no, you know?
This card shows how busted Smuggler's Copter is, just as a...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even Hardy Kieran right now is not that good, and that costs 2 mana, and, like, I don't know, you have to build your deck in such a weird way where you have enough historic cards and... I don't know. I'm not a fan.
No, you play that dwarf chick. She's historic and she can crew it.
DePaula? Is that Veteran Motorist does?
Well, both.
Yeah.
DePaula crews it, but she's also a historic, is his point.
Veteran Motorist gives it hasty.
And I guess you could have like Pia with it too. That's historic, you know. I can see a shell. Like,
yeah, but most of these cards are gonna.
Scrap Heap
it's not better than the other 4
Scrap Heap Scrounger is historic.
Yeah, but it's not better than the other 4 drops, so there's no way even gets touched until post.
Yeah.
What I do like about this, though, a quick note, is one of the big problems that they've had over the past few years is taking the story cards, whether it's Emrakul or whatever, Ulamog or whatever else, right, and pushing them so hard that it actually kind of ruins Standard. And here we have the Weatherlight, the most famous vehicle in all of Magic or whatever, and it sucks. And I think that's kind of good.
We're going to listen back on this episode 2 months from now, and Carton's going to be like a 4 in every deck. And he's like, he's also a story card.
I mean, I agree, but it's also a Planeswalker, so like, it is what it is. I mean, Planeswalkers sometimes are just very good. For what it's worth, Shaundra is very good and was at $1.40 and is a story card, but it's also fine. It didn't break Standard.
Like, I mean, if it costs 3 mana, I think that card would be good. You know,
this isn't even like this isn't even peak Weatherlight though. They took the engine out of it, and this is like restored Weatherlight that was like in a swamp. This is like the never-ending story too of Weatherlight.
Thesis' Weatherlight, is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, but you're right about Karn. That could be the one where they went too far. We'll see.
Demon Lord
Next up,
Belzenlock.
And just they had like different syllables on a dartboard, and that's how they named this card.
Elder Demon.
It has so many words. Is it good? I don't want to read it.
This card draws you like 1 card, I think, right?
Maybe. You exile until you hit a non-land, and if it has a mana cost 4 or greater, you do it again, and then you lose a bunch of life. So you draw 1 card.
I mean, yeah, probably. Could, whatever. Bulk Mythic or near bulk, probably like $1.
I think it's worse than EDH.
Yeah, it probably is. All right, next up, Varric's Bladewing, $3.30. Does this card do anything? It's a 4/4.
It reminds me of
this card's bulk.
It reminds me of the dragon for that mana. Yeah, kind of. That was like Broodmate sort of terrorized Limited. Yeah. It was like okay in Jund, but like I don't know if I want to be paying that much mana.
For what it's worth, Broodmate Dragon was straight broken. Not broken. Broodmate Dragon was incredibly good in its time in Standard. However, this is 7 mana. And not
it was.
But that was back when the mana was so good. Patrick Chapin's like, I like Broodmate Dragon, and I'm going to splash for Cryptic Command. And everyone's like, all right.
All right, man, go for
this
it.
Card's
and
garbage.
then he did.
Next card.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't legendary, it might have a chance, but legendary is actually a pretty big deal with that card.
Like Rekindling Phoenix is better than this by a lot.
Exactly.
Well, for sure, yeah. All right, next up is Woodland Cemetery and Hinterland Harbor.
And
Cliff Top.
I know. And Cliff Top, yep. Hinterland Harbor, though, is very important for the Merfolk tribe, and they're getting Merfolk tricks there. I know, but I'm being serious, though. Like, Kumina's is an expensive card. People want to play it in Standard.
We've been recording for over an hour.
DJ, you bitching about it doesn't change it, though.
We haven't had the bulk of this
Yavamaya's Avatar.
Garbage.
Trample, bulk Mythic.
Yeah, it is indeed. It's actually really crazy. That card's Mythic. It's pretty bulky.
Well, see, some of these cards, like Helm of the Host, I want to talk about, but I don't care about Helm of the Host. Its price doesn't matter. It's a non-mythic, but here's the thing. Helm of the Host is going to enable a bunch of stuff. It already spiked Combat Celebrant. Like, Aurelia could go up.
I would not say it's spiked Combat Celebrant, man.
Sure it did.
No,
I think it was the child taking second at the Grand Prix that spiked Combat Celebrant.
Everyone's like, Helm of the Host is coming out. That's going to be amazing with Celebrant. We got to buy them now.
No.
If you think it had anything to do with the card performing on camera, you're not paying attention. You're not looking into the future. Helm of the Host is going to come out and make Godo Bandit Warlord a $5 card.
Also, that blue-red Godfarrow's gift deck is straight insane, so...
Yeah. So Helm, like anything that gives you extra attacks is just pretty nuts. I think people are already brewing combo decks within EDH. I think Helm itself doesn't matter, but I think you go one step farther and look at the other stuff it's going to enable.
So what's the best buy? Godo?
Probably Godo and Aurelia, yeah.
Okay. All right, next up, Josu Vetch Lich Knight.
This card is going to be insane.
Really?
Yeah.
I like this card
Okay,
a lot.
tell us why. It's a 4-mana 4/5 with Menace. And then the kicker is 6 to get 8 Black Zombie Knights.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to find a home in like an Hour of Promise desert deck, you know? Like, I think it'll be great in that kind of shell.
I like this card a lot.
I don't think 4 mana for a 4/5 Menace is that bad.
I mean,
it's already decent stats. Like, if you're behind, drop that. But I could see it easily just being your auto win spell.
Interesting. You're right. It does. I mean, it does put 20 power into play. That is the point of it.
And this started This like pre-sold for like $8, and then everyone's like, "Oh, what about $250 though?"
I mean, for what it's worth, too. We talked about Cabal Stronghold earlier. It is quite good with that if this is a lot of black, but some Hour of Promise for ramp deck. So
yeah, it's just like it's
you
so
need
rough.
6
like
swamps
mono
for it to
black.
be good, and then four of your lands need to be just to get you. To net you 4 mana?
Yeah,
sure.
And I mean, like, having to play just mono black, like, it's just not going to be a good deck, Green brings you the ramp, which gets you to this fast. Like, you play that 3 mana 5/5, and then you can go, turn 4 Hour of Promise, and then you can go, technically turn 6, you can kick this then.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty good. And it is a different kind of deck, right? That kind of rock-style deck that Standard doesn't really have right now. So, interesting.
Yeah, because, realistically right now it's not super good, the rock strategies, because, blue-black strategies and just the hyper-aggressive decks run it over, So, we'll see if it gets any more.
But what you are saying is,
the rock used to have board wipes, and now it doesn't really.
Yeah,
it doesn't have board wipes.
That's something they really need. Golden Demise just isn't enough.
Right.
Back in the day, you had that Pernicious Deed, and you could regenerate your whatever the guy was,
Spirit
the rock.
Monger.
Troll Aesthetic.
Well, Spearmonger way before that, but yeah, Troll Aesthetic was pretty nice.
Troll Aesthetic was, I played Troll Aesthetic Rock at my first PTQ when I was 15.
Nice.
You had that echoing decay for the Troll Aesthetic mirror. You nuke one of your trolls and kill like 3 of theirs.
Yeah, that felt
good times.
So Josu Vest at 250, I think it sounds like in the short term we pass, but in the long term it could be a finisher, so keep an eye on it.
Yeah, no, it definitely has a super high ceiling. It could be bad, but I think it's going to be pretty strong.
Goblin Chain Whirler.
Chain Whirler is a card that I want you to wait for to bulk.
Hey, I posted about this in the Discord, Jason. I posted about this in the Discord.
So there's a Discord server where if you go to brainstormbrewery.com/
That's not even what it is, man. No.
I've been drinking for 2 hours.
It's Patreon. Oh my gosh.
Speaking of, I gotta go get a drink.
This is all you do. This is your thing.
I'm what? You go to the website.
Patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery.
Brainstorm Brewery. I'm just pretending to be drunker than I am. Go to Patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery and you could subscribe to our Patreon for as little as $1 per month, which works out to 20 or 25 cents an episode. You can be a patron and have access to our Discord server where we talk about all kind of secret stuff like sports and making fun of Corbin for having a terrible phone and what do you want to pay for Goblin Chain Whirler? We give you all kind of free stuff, and you get to hear our unbridled opinions about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so one of our listeners, who is kind of awful, but not really, posted in his little MTG Finance article, like, this is my set review, even though it's our Discord channel. And then he's like, I think Chain Whirler's meh. And I was like, I like that card a lot, because it was pre-ordering for $1.50. And I was like, if you're going to play Mono Red, you need 5 of these, like, all the time. And so I said to buy...
It went to 3.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. All right, well, when it enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and each planeswalker they control.
DJ,
first strike for 3.
One thing that I have to quibble with you, when you said that guy's kind of awful, that's a patron, right? That guy's dog shit.
Yeah, he paid for you to insult him. Not pussyfoot around it, man.
Kind of awful. He put his own set review in our Discord server. I hope he walks in on his dad peeing and sees his dad's entire dong. That's what I hope.
What did I just walk in?
Yeah.
That's what he'll say.
You left.
And his dad will be like, don't you knock?
You left for like 30 seconds, and we just went to peak Brainstorm Brewery.
Hey, man.
Insulting patrons.
Impressive.
For a larger amount, you could have this handsome drinking glass that I drank 3 expensive beers out of during the course of this podcast.
Wow.
Impressive.
You could have you got a playmat, we got tokens, we got brand new tokens on the way, and everything in between. You can have access to our after hours where the stuff, you're like, is there stuff that is too raunchy for this podcast? And you'd be right, there is.
Yeah. All right, next up.
So,
did we move past Goblin Chain?
Oh, yeah. Well, we decided it was pretty good. What do you think?
I think this card is insane.
That's what I thought.
It's super busted. Like, I mean, even if you're playing against like a blue-black mid-range or Grixis mid-range, like still playing a 3-mana 3/3 that deals a damage and takes out their Siphoner, like that is insane. And
nice
champion
of Wits and Glint Sleeve Siphoner, buddy.
Exactly. And God forbid you play against a vampire deck or green-white tokens and you just shit on them. You know, I think this card is going to be insane.
This also makes combat just like miserable for them pre-combat. So you like play one of these, deal 1 damage to their 4 toughness guy, and you're like attack.
Oh yeah. There's going to be so many bluff attacks.
Yeah, because if you play it post-combat, you get it finished stuff off, or
exactly.
Like,
so there's going to be a lot of
them and their planeswalker. Like this card's so
and their
good.
creatures, yeah. You can I could finish off your whole side if I had an Inflame, and if you're playing against Chris Bakula, you could tilt him by bringing up that card.
And think about like Shaundra ticks down to 1. That new Teferi ticks down to 1. Like That's a card that just knocks that out, Like, the Planeswalkers are good when they kill your only creature, but then when you can just play a creature that progresses your board while killing a Planeswalker, like, that's busted.
Plus, this set has hella good goblins.
Yeah.
Yes, it does have hella good goblins.
And it's crazy that it...
so well.
It's crazy that it actually kills the Planeswalker, and they still take a damage the way it's worded.
Yeah.
So, it also, for what it's worth... It's just under $3 right now. I mean, do we see it going higher?
It used to be cheaper. It was a much better.
I know. DJ posted about it in Discord, but
if you need these, you still buy them.
You think? Yeah, do you think it'll go up?
Yeah, I'm not super keen on prices. You know, I don't keep a close watch on them really, but that card just seems insane.
Oh, look at Daddy Warbucks. Like, money's no object when I'm building decks.
Yeah, because I borrow all my cards.
No. If you're somebody who bought like the Hazara aggro deck and you're like, I'm gonna play standard for some months, like buy 4 of these right now at 3.
Yeah,
just do that.
Next up,
I'm buying 100 of them
my cart as we talk about these.
Yeah, good. There you go.
You don't need to. This isn't a card where you buy. Well, this is an important distinction. This isn't a card where you buy like 30 of them and then flip them at 10.
Yeah.
But like, this is just a card you buy right now because it's
too late. I just bought $300 worth.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Next up is Tashar, Ancestors Boss. So 4 mana, 2/2 flyer. Legendary Bird Cleric. Whenever you cast a Historic Soul, return target creature with convertment cost 3 less from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Woo!
So this is kind of cheap right now, actually, right? It's $250.
I think this is correct. I think this
seems correct-ish, but what I would say is that there could be this is the sort of thing you can build decks around to an extent, and
probably
again,
not in standard.
Maybe you play it and you play your Mox Amber, Keep in mind, especially post-rotation, and I know I'm talking about that, but there are just so many legendary creatures that Mox Amber doesn't necessarily have to be this played on turn 1 like a typical Mox. It can be play your Tashar or whatever, play your Mox Amber. Now you get something back immediately.
Wait, does Mox Amber play or add a mana for like artifacts and everything, or is it just legendaries?
It adds a mana for a color of the legend that you have.
Right.
Just legends, though, right? Like, not artifacts?
Just historic.
You can't, go turn 1 Scrounger or something?
Well, but if you have a colored artifact, it will tap for that. So if you have, Master of Ethereum or whatever, or some legendary...
Yeah.
No, Hope of Girapur, guys.
Sure, yeah, well, no.
Yeah, I don't know. And
but what it does mean is
the body just isn't good for 4 mana. I don't see that seeing play.
Yeah, so this price is probably a little high. It's just It could be a fun one. It's got a nice ability, certainly. All right, next up.
Yeah.
Next up is Torgar, Famine Incarnate.
Bulk rare next card.
It's a bulk rare, but it's a lot of fun. I could see you building a deck.
Here's one that surprises me. It's a cheap. Naban or Naban, whatever it is. Dean of Iteration. It's a 2 mana, 2/1 wizard. If a wizard entered the battlefield under your control, causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger. It triggers second time. So what this means is enter the battlefield effects trigger twice with Naban in play.
Only if a wizard entering the battlefield.
Right, of course. Right. Is that a big deal? I mean, double Snapcaster Mage, double, I think, Reflector Mage.
Double Snapcaster Mage costs too much mana.
I agree. Yeah. But what about something like double Reflector Mage?
Double Reflector Mage is cute, but I mean, how often do you really need to bounce to?
Plus, in the meantime, you're playing a Knight Errant in blue.
The humans deck is so tight for this.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, that's true. Okay. So,
also,
you
this
guys
has some really good flavor text, though, Jason.
Okay, let's hear it.
Perfect.
Now do it again.
Do it again. No, you got to do the David Blaine voice. Perfect.
Yeah. It even kind of looks like David Blaine.
That's true.
Illusions, Michael. Illusions are what a whore does for money. Or mana.
All right, next up is...
Is there a saga in every color?
Yes.
There's like 3 or 4 sagas in every color.
There's a bunch of them.
Black has the bulk of them, I think.
Okay. There are a lot of sagas.
This is a bulk rare.
I'm reading this. It looks like a bulk rare.
Why are you reading this? Why didn't you prep for the set review,
this
piece
is a
of
bulk
garbage?
Rare. We're not reading this card. Moving on.
Yeah, this card's trash.
Marwyn the Nurturer. Is this good?
It's a close to bulk rare, but not quite a bulk rare. This is a card that's like $1, but people still give it to you as a bulk rare, so it's like slightly more relevant than a true bulk rare, but
it kind of has Gyre Sage potential where it could spike to 4 off some elf deck.
Yeah, but I agree. This isn't that bad. You can play it on turn 2. This, you can make an elf ball deck, right? Llanowar Elves into this. If there are other ways to abuse elf things, right? It can make a bunch of mana.
I don't think it's a buy.
The problem is it costs the same amount of mana as something like Elvish Archdruid, which is just way better.
Well, we're talking about standard though.
You don't buy this at $1.50.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what kind of elf deck? I mean, is there that many elves in the?
I don't know.
There's not that many.
Yeah.
But you don't want this as a 4 of in the deck it's in, so that hurts it too.
It also has the awkward thing of the more power it gets, the more you want to attack with it, but you also want to tap it for mana more.
I mean, sure. I'm just saying it does have.
That's why you need Copperhorn Scout.
Yeah, it is kind of a contradicting card a little bit.
You can make a lot of mana with it. That's all I'm saying. So if
all right, Timmy.
Yeah, that's true, man.
No, Copperhorn, you attack with it as a huge creature, then you untap it with Copperhorn Scout, then you pay to overrun with Azuri. Boom! I solved the format.
I do think it is like $1.50, $2 forever though, because it is just another card that goes in an elf ball deck. All right, next up is Karn's Temporal Sundering.
Karn's bulk rare.
Legendary.
Well, it's not a bulk rare. It's $1 forever. This is another $1 forever card.
Yeah, it's difficult to cast, but it's like not the worst time warp. But
it's a time warp. Yeah, like
but
not that hard
time warp is a time warp. This is I hope I have a legendary permanent play.
But
otherwise I can't play this time warp.
Like Karn into extra turn though.
This is a time walk that's really good with planeswalkers though.
Yeah, I don't think you want to underestimate the power of a time walk. And at $1.50 right now, I actually just have no problem picking these up.
Yeah, this is a card I'm fine.
You want to know what other time walks like $1.50? Like a lot of them, Temporal Trespass, and it's like a lot of them.
But those cost $1 million mana.
Hit like $4 when it was in standard because it was good.
Yeah, and this is one in like a bad deck even. Yeah. Don't underestimate 6 mana extra turns.
Well, don't underestimate Blackblade Reforged because there are a lot of bad Magic players.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that card's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Just play Stratus Scythe, people.
Yeah, Stratus Scythe. And what's the other one? Sword of the Animist.
What about Dread Shade? We get this is our triple black card. Cycle. This is pretty bad. Maybe.
Yeah, they spoiled it last for a reason.
Too.
Well, I mean, I guess like this is the home for Cabal, right?
It would if you're playing. There are people in the world, and they're a small but vocal contingent who want to play mono black control in every format since the one time it was good in standard once upon a minute.
That was 2003. Let it go.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I realize you got your first hand job in 2003, and like. The CD that was playing, Smash Mouth, Astro Lounge, and the clothes you were wearing, Jinkos, and like the deck you were playing, Mono Black Control, all that stuff resonates with you because you got your first hand DJ. But I'm telling you, man, the same reason you don't still drive that 1999 Honda Civic is the same reason you don't still play that deck. It's not good tomorrow.
Wow. All right, I guess Jason doesn't want you to play Dread Shade.
Just saying, Astro Lounge has held up. Disconnect the Dots is a great song.
I love All Star.
Oh, you would. God. All Star wasn't even on Astro Lounge. That's the only thing I know about Smash Mouth. You're an idiot.
Oh man, I knew that would trigger you. I didn't know in which way specifically, but I knew that would upset you.
Eventually, it was going to get to you.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Benologed Marshal. This is kind of cool. $1 forever, but possibly more.
Yeah.
Three other creatures get +1/+1. I mean, if Craig Wesco breaks his card, it's $5.
Yawgmoth's Vile.
I mean, going like turn 1 Legion's Landing, turn 2 Server Expedition, turn 3 this flip, like shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think this card's fine.
Yeah, then you play History of Benalia, and then you make the Knights, and then the Knights are 3/3, and then they get +2/+1, and then you swing at your opponent's empty board. They're like, why? The hubris.
Craig's just going to top 8 the Pro Tour with this deck you're making fun of.
Oh, for sure. This will be in a top 8 list from Craig Wesco.
Yep. All right. But I think I don't hate it at $1, to be honest. It's one of those low risk, high reward type cards.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great card, though, too.
Yeah. Next one. Yawgmoth's Vile offering. It's 5 mana, legendary sorcery. Put a creature or planeswalker from a graveyard and battlefield into your control. Discard up to one target, or destroy up to one target creature or planeswalker. Exile it. This is very powerful.
I think this
the
is
only
a bulk
thing.
rare.
It's powerful.
Well, yeah, it's a bulk rare, but the cool thing about it says graveyard and not your graveyard.
Exactly. Yeah, this card's cool.
Oh wow,
yeah.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah, this could be decent.
Yes, I do think it's just $1, but yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, like, just the fact that you have to have, a legend in play, like, in gameplay, I'm feeling it's not going to work out as well as people would hope. You know,
they're not even good versions of the spells they're replacing. Like if they're a better version with the drawback, but like the green one is like a worse Genesis wave. Plus, it's harder to play.
The Karn one is cool because you can chain it. You can like chain it with Planeswalkers in play, and then you're just fucking going crazy. But the rest of them are like, eh.
Yeah. All right. And Bolus's clutches. No, it's a
no. It's mispriced. It's actually 42 cents.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Lich's Mastery is next. This has a lot of words too.
It'd be $10 when Dum Dum like makes a deck with it and it gets on camera and he goes 3-2 in a moto match or whatever. Everyone's like, oh, it's cheap, but I think for now like it's $1.
Bulk rare.
Right of Belzlocker.
Belzlock. It's you still can't.
We've hit the Zombie Knight, so I think at this point we should just talk about what we want to talk about. Are any of the rest of the cards relevant?
Token,
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I think that Zombie Knight token's going to see some play.
Oh, bold.
I think that art is great. Fine work.
There are a lot of uncommons that just aren't going to be money, but like the foils could be money. But
which ones do you want to talk about?
There's going to be so many foils though, because every pre-release kit gets like a foil promo and a foil legend. So
yeah. Okay, so there are 10 cards I wanted to talk about, and some of them we've touched on. I think Squee could potentially make people play that stupid Food Chain Griffin deck.
I do too.
Food Chain is precarious right now because it's a lot of money and like not a lot of copies are in vendors' hands because it's so good with Maelstrom Wanderer and Prosh and stuff like that. So Food Chain's a weird card. Everybody needs it for that dumb deck. Food Chain and Griffin could both potentially go up, and some of the other stuff on the deck is everything else on the deck is really cheap, except like Emrakul or whatever you're winning with.
Furthermore, both Griffin and Squee are one card away from being broken in half in Modern.
I agree.
So, am I wrong, or was Squee a 1/1?
It was a 1/1.
Like this is like a Squee 2.1.
Yeah.
He's doubled in power over the past like 70 years or whatever.
You can strike me down, but I only become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
I just think that
Squee ages like fine wine.
Yeah, I mean Squee has to me the same potential as Miss Hollow Griffin with lower upsides. Miss Hollow Griffin was a mythic, but these are just, and I don't know what that card would look like, but they are one card away from being broken.
I think some blue-red world with Champion of Wits and some Squeeze, like maybe.
It's maybe a little bit of value.
What Squee does price-wise itself doesn't matter. I think it moves up those other cards potentially, just because it could get more people excited about that dumb deck. And I think that deck's dumb, and I think that deck shouldn't have ever... Like, getting on camera shouldn't have spiked Food Chain to 50 like it did, but...
How do you really feel about that Food Chain deck?
Yeah.
Hey man, you know what? Food Chain's not on the reserve list, so why is it $70? Get off your ass.
Food Chain is sweet, though.
Okay, Artificer's Assistant, I think, is secretly one of the best cards in the set. I think it's very cool. I like
What's it do?
It's the 1/1 bird that when you play a historic spell, you scry.
Okay, all right.
I think that card is garbage.
I think people are excited about it, DJ, and you should learn about selling it at hype. Rat Colony is one of the 2 most influential cards in the set in terms of the other cards removed.
Yeah, me too.
Rat Colony, you're going to buy lots of them, so the foils are going to be expensive. It's going to move Thrumming Stone, which is currently at like...
I don't think the foils of Rat Colony will be expensive.
Okay, I don't care what you think.
Well, they're not going to be expensive. Okay, so what's Shadowborn Apostle foil now?
Don't interrupt me on my own play.
No, what's Shadowborn Apostle foil?
So Pack Rat's like $250. Coat of Arms is like
$3 because nobody who foils the Shadowborn Apostle deck buys 45 Shadowborn Apostles.
You can have your own fucking time to talk. What are you doing right now? What are you doing?
Telling you
kids
you're
play
wrong.
nice.
Okay, great. Don't buy the foil. Shut the fuck up, DJ. Can I finish my list? Jesus Christ.
Woo! Get him. All right, finish your list.
You're a fucking guest on the podcast. Act like.
Jason's so
all right,
salty.
just finish your list.
Oh, your roll.
No. Coat of Arms is like 8 right now. That probably goes up. You can just go on EDH Rec and look what people are. Just type in either Shadowborn Apostle or Relentless Rats and look what people are already playing. They're gonna build those stupid decks. You know, Thrumming Stone probably goes up just because Thrumming Stone's not likely to get reprinted. It was in Cold Snap. Nobody bought Cold Snap packs. That's a $9 card that I've just been waiting to go up. Door Destiny's like $6. You know, Kindred Dominance, when nobody was looking, just sort of crept up to like $4. Patriarch's bidding, they don't seem to want to reprint. That's a $20 card. So I think all that crap just like goes up just because Rat Colony. I don't know that you replace the Shadowborn Apostle decks necessarily, but like I think people that were going to potentially build the deck will look at Rat Colony, see it's way better than Relentless Rats, and probably just build the deck based on that. I like Broken Bond in foil. I think that's going to be like an EDH staple. Broken Bond is just one of those cards that everyone is just going to play badly for a while, but I think they'll eventually learn how to play it better. Because you're just going to like nuke the first Soul Ring or whatever you see just to explore, but I think eventually people will realize how flexible it is. Jwara, like I said, egg stuff, storm stuff, Aetherflux, Reservoir, crap like that. People were asking me if Joda is going to spike Fist of Suns. I don't think so, just because it was just in the Dragon deck. They were asking about that Cascade card from, like, whatever Zendikar block. I don't like that card. I like Crystal Quarry, which is much older. You turn 5 colorless into Wooburg, basically. That's an old card. And I think that potentially goes up just because you can turn 5 mana of any color basically into the 5 you need to play free spells with Joda. So I like that one a lot more than I like the newest one.
The Cascading Bluffs, maybe?
Cascading Bluffs. Something Cascade. I don't know, man. Somebody asked me about it on Twitter.
Cascading Cataracts.
Okay, yeah. I that could potentially go, but like, where's it going to go?
Yeah, that's card's bulk. Yeah,
but Crystal Quarry is old as shit, and there's like 35 copies of it, so... Slimefoot is nuts, man.
I'm all about Sapling.
Sapling Infestation, Sapling Burst. Ashnod's Altar could potentially go up. Illusionist Bracers, because it's part of that combo. If you have Illusionist Bracers or a token doubler plus a sack outlet, you go infinite with your Saprolings.
And also, I think you just pull all the good Saproling cards from Time Spiral Block and whatever else, right? Just because... Yeah. They become 50-cent cards or 75-cent cards, right? Out of the idea that they start to get played somewhere.
You can play the Sprout Swarm Paradox Engine combo. Paradox Engine's already good in the Slimefoot deck, but like I think you just play the Sprout Swarm Paradox Engine combo in there, so you get all kind of crap like that. I think Primal Vigor has a chance to go up. Parallel Lives probably, but Primal Vigor is one of those cards that just seems like they're not super willing to reprint it. And as fair as it is, like I think if you were just going to play Primal Vigor, combo off that turn and kill him, it doesn't matter.
So do you think that, just on that note, do you think that like Primal Vigor and Parallel Lives, those are already expensive cards? Do you think that, and they were already broken in the sense, like if you're doing things that are good with them, they're already insane. I mean, do you really think that Saprolines are going to cause a run on them that didn't already exist?
I think that people will need a copy that they didn't have before. I think everyone's like, I've got enough Primal Vigors. And every time something that needs these cards comes along, it absolutely moves the price.
Okay.
And without a reprint in sight on any of that stuff, I think people buy it. In terms of speculation, I think people will double their orders next time because, like, I don't want to run out again. And I think just in general, people just need the copies, and they got to come from somewhere. Yeah, I think the prices when hard copies start to accumulate in vendor inventories, that's when the price starts to stabilize.
Yeah.
So I think once there's a run on them, vendors raise the buy price pushes the sale price, and I think people are going to want crap for that deck. And I think Cadaverous Bloom has a chance.
That is an old one.
Yeah. Well, because Squandered Resources went up as a result of Gitrog Monster. It went from like 25 cents to like $15 to like $5. I think Cadaverous Bloom is a card that can help you combo off the turn you play the Bracers or whatever. So Slimefoot is just like a dumb Saproling value deck until you get the 3 combo pieces you need and then just kill everybody.
Cadaverous Bloom is moving up in price. It's worth as much as it's been in the last 5 years and is on the upward trend.
Yeah. So that's another card I like. And I like I said, I think that if there's a fast run on it, it hits 15, but it stabilizes at 5, so don't pay more than like 3.
Okay.
Gilded Lotus we talked about. DJ disagrees. I think Helm, yeah, we talked about Godo and Aurelia. And then maybe Voltaic Servant. I kind of like that in a lot of decks. And I don't know if foils could do something, but DJ doesn't even like foils in recent sets. So
I don't disagree with DJ on the foils of the Rat Colony. That's like just your casual 60-player thing. 60 card deck.
But anybody that does want to foil that deck out, they need 30 of the rest.
They're the only person that needs to foil it out, though, so the price stays down.
Right, I mean, he's right. The Shadowborn Apostle has not exactly gone crazy.
Well, what's Shadowborn Apostle at?
$3 foil, and then non-foil is like $1.50.
You can get a foil Rat Colony for cheaper than $3 right now.
Well, sure, but
and it's going to stay there for like forever.
Shadowborn Apostle is like 5 years old. I think that the larger point is it barely it's just over a 2x multiplier. So, you know, it's a 2.5x multiplier.
Foil was definitely don't fuck with it in non-foil. And if you don't want to fuck with it in foil either, fine, don't. But definitely don't fuck with it in non-foil.
It's so hard to find the one guy who's like, yeah, I'm willing to spend like $4 a pop on my foil Shadowborn Apostle. Like,
well, do you find that guy, or do you have a TCG player?
Yeah, you would clearly sell him on TCG player. That would be your only out for that or whatever, which is fine, right? But I think that the important sale. Yeah, the important thing is that it's looking at Shadowborn Apostle, and I'll actually look up Relentless Rats real quick so we have another analog here. But
Relentless Rats foil is $4.
Okay, and the regulars too?
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean we're just seeing a 2x multiplier on these cards.
That feels so high for a card that like is still unplayable. You know?
Well, yeah, Corey, this is the crash course in Magic is not made for you and us. This is made. Yeah. This is for the guy who has his. When I first started playing Magic with a guy at the kitchen table, he had his Thrumming Stone Relentless Rats deck, and that was his thing. That's why Relentless Rats is $2, man.
How was Thrumming Stone only $9, by the way?
Because very few people actually play that deck, and if they do, they'd need 4 Thrumming Stones and 30 Relentless Rats. So, but those people drive the market, man. That's why not going to, casting too wide a net here, but that's why there's a lot of value to people who follow this stuff, helping competitive players manage, sharing this sort of information with them so they manage their inventory. And, there are players who play this game for 10 years and they only play competitively and they have a bunch of Relentless Rats from 10th edition or M10 or whatever and have no idea they're sitting on $50 that'll go buy them their play set of Hazarets or whatever,
Yeah.
So that's
one of those people.
Yeah, exactly. That's the value to stuff like this. So, it seems kind of dumb to argue, right, over whether you should get into Rat Colony foils or whatnot, but they are just going to be left on tables at your draft. And, you get 10 of them, and that's $40 in a couple years, right? It just all adds up.
I've started to now save, actually start a collection. Before I just always borrow whatever, leave all my cards at the tournament, forget it. But I'm being more responsible.
Yeah, it does add up to real money at some point.
For sure.
All right, does anyone else have anything in the set they want to touch on?
I want to touch on the most unspoken hero in the set.
Here we go.
How many played with Canal Monitor? The 5/3?
Nobody.
We have a 9/3, gentlemen.
No,
a 5-mana 9/3 that is going to be terrorizing drafts near you, okay?
Oh, gosh.
But you can't play it in multiples. It's shit because you can't.
Tell me about our Lord and Savior.
Yargle, Gluttonous of Urborg, will be smashing in 3 times and winning the game.
Will it, though?
It will be. Okay?
I believe it will smash exactly once.
You thought Canal Monitor was good? You wait till this Gluttonous Urborg.
Jason loves how many people got all hyped up about Slimefoot because that was a meme card. And so Wizards decided to scramble together and make Yargle, which was the infinitely more meme card for Jason to just love.
This is why they don't give you good shit. You're like, why don't we have good flavor? Okay, fine. We're going to have 25 different unique characters. It's like, here's Gerard's namesake in 2 different cards. Here's like the person taking over for the Weatherlight. Here's all these stories passed down for the history of Benalia and all this shit. Everyone's like, there's a fungus monster. His name's Slimefoot.
I like frog. Get it right.
Yeah, it's a frog. And read that flavor text.
No, we're talking about Slimefoot now. That's the card.
Yargle is our Lord and Savior. I'll read the flavor text.
Broken because you can pitch it to Force Will.
Look, man.
Why do you give these people flavor? Just give them whatever.
When Bells unlocks Lieutenant Yarkul grew too ambitious, The Demon Lord transformed him into a maggot. The frog that ate the maggot grew and grew until a ravenous spirit burst from its body, named
and bam,
Yargle.
Take 9.
Yargle was
born. If you think that ravenous spirit had any abilities, you're mistaken.
Take 9. Trade with your 2-drop.
Yeah.
Oh, I do love a good Yargle.
Oh yeah, it'll be our meme card for sure.
Hey, when's Sithlebip getting his Planeswalker card, guys?
I mean, there's a couple cards in this set that I think are overrated. Like, I think Joyra's Familiar is overrated, which is the 4-mana 2/2 flyer that says historic spells cost 1 less. I think people get really excited about uncommons that say that, even though they don't really do anything, because it's just like a 4-mana card that. Like, Foundry Inspector exists, and it costs 1 less, and it hasn't done anything, like, financially or otherwise. Yep. Like, the foils aren't worth anything. Just because this card makes your Planeswalkers cost 1 less, it is a 4-mana artifact creature that's not going to do anything. Like, you could have played every other card that makes your stuff cost 1 less, and it's
I think you make a good point, because like if that thing cost 2 and it made your spells cost 1 less, where you could play a turn 3 Shaundra or Karn or something, then I think it's great. But when you're already at 4, you could just be casting the Planeswalker you're trying to make cheaper. So
yeah, exactly. All right, Merfolk Trickster, everybody, keep an eye out. Card is
Trickster's
good.
really good.
Not biased at all.
You know,
the art is sweet. Zalfirian Void could be a pick. The colorless land, the ETB Scries one, that's probably a pick. I'm going to be pulling those out of bulk. Power Stone Shard, I'm going to be pulling out of bulk.
A pick because it's worth more than like 0.4 cents.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be worth like dimes and dimes or quarters and BioS. Yes, Jason.
Yep. Yeah, those are fine. It's worth knowing to pull that stuff out of your pre-releases and so on.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think like the main thing for a pre-release is like when you look down at your sealed pool and you see something that has a power of 9, you play it. You know, that's my one pro advice for this seal.
4 Grand Prix back-to-back top 8s right here, everybody.
Thank you.
It can trade with their 9 toughness creature or their 3 power.
I'm gonna watch you pass a Yargle.
Think of all the 9 toughness creatures you can take down with that. Like the list has to be endless.
3 mana to put Blackblade Reforged on Yargle, and then he's gonna be unstoppable.
Also, the 5 monocolor memorial lands that you sacrifice, I think those are picks too. Just you don't know which one's going to be good, but the same was true with the Hour of Devastation Desert. So, like, Ramunap Ruins, Ifnir Deadlands, Hashep Oasis, those have all been picks. So, like, I think you just pick all the memorials out of bulk, and then you just wait and see which one is, like, the good one. Like, probably the blue or the...
It's going to be the blue, yeah. I think the blue is actually actively insane. That's like, in Limited, I think it's just, like, an auto-play every single one you have. And I think it's going to be, like, a 2 of in standard... blue decks, standard control blue decks. I think it's very good.
Yeah, like the green and the black one, the red one are probably the worst, but the blue and the white one I think have potential.
Yeah, the red one's terrible, but I think I only know the blue and the red.
The white one is 4 and tap sacrifice to make 2 dudes.
2/1/1 soldiers.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not terrible.
The black one is just get a creature from your graveyard to your hand. That sucks.
No, that's not terrible.
Really? How many raised dead effects are you playing?
I mean, think about this.
He plays Scarab God and Liliana.
Think about this, like...
Those are animate dead effects, not raised dead effects.
It's also a counterspell to a Scarab God activation on your creatures, you know? True. I mean, it's not completely nothing, but it's an option.
Yeah, that is all true. We also saw... These are sort of similar to the cycle of lands from Battle for Zendikar, right? That... had similar effects at similar mana costs, like the Blighted cycle, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that black Blighted land ended up being phenomenal, you know? Like, that was played in a lot
Blighted Finn. Yes, that card was good.
Yep.
Yeah, make people sacrifice.
Yeah, so, like, the white one was obviously garbage. Yeah, the white one was obviously garbage, but the point is, like, when there's an uncommon land cycle... I think that have like activated abilities, you generally just pick them regardless of what their immediate value is at the time, and then people like Corey will figure out which one's insane, and then that's the one you go with from the future.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Okay. All right. Well, that I think will wrap us up if no one else has anything. But so, Corey, big thanks, man, for coming on. It's very nice to have somebody who actually knows what they're talking about when it comes to Magic cards to guide us through some of this, or at least back us up so we can feel smart. So where can people find you on the internet if they want to follow you on the social medias or any of that stuff?
Yeah, have a Twitter account, Facebook account. I usually share my articles and stuff on there. Mostly Twitter, used for Magic stuff.
All right. So what's your handle, and where can people find your articles?
I actually do not know my handle off top.
I got you, fam. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you.
Hold up. Oh my gosh, you're kidding me, right?
What is it?
It's at Corey Baumeister, man.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I did a crypto.
I never would have guessed that.
Oh my God.
I really mixed it up a little bit this time.
Where can people find your articles and or videos or anything else you produce?
Yeah, just TCG Player, or Twitter is the main source that I do the sharing on there. So.
All right. Well, again, thank you for coming on, man. It was really helpful. Everyone else, enjoy the Dominaria pre-release this weekend. It's going to be a good time. I'm sure we'll all have some fun. Cast some Yargles. Do the right thing.
Exactly. Attack for 9. Attack for 9.
That's all you have to remember. Attack for 9. Until next week, we'll see you later. This is Brainstorm Brewery.
Peace out.
Bye.